I am Heidi Benjaminson, your host of Confidence Coaching, a podcast for mothers who want to stay calm and anchored while their children ride an emotional roller coaster. Life isn't a spectator sport. Success comes to those who show up every day with a pocket full of courage, grit, and a little sparkle. I'm glad you're here. Hello, my wonderful listeners. Welcome to episode 178, continuing for a couple more weeks in our Best of series. I hope that you are enjoying re-listening to some episodes that are many years old, or I'm guessing for a lot of you, this is the first time that you have listened. Today, you're going to be re-listening to Wishing Other People Were Different. And this is an episode after it aired originally. I got so many comments of people sharing it on social media and saying, thank you so much. I really, really needed this episode. And I want you to be listening in this. First of all, know that every single one of us struggles with this, with probably almost every single person that we know. So please know that these are all things, and you're going to hear, I give you so many detailed examples of where I have had to use this. This has been a game changer. Understanding, I need to look at this situation or this person in a different light changes every single relationship. And it changes how I show up. And then it changes how this other person is in relation to me. It allows me to be more firmly, again, in my lane of who do I want to be in relation to this other person. Why do I want them to be different? It's usually because I want to feel something different, or I want less responsibility in my lane, things like that. When we change how we look at other people, those other people change. It's as simple as that. And we always get to decide, who do I want to be in my lane? What's the type of person I want to be? How do I act? How do I want to act in relation to this person? So I am excited to bring this to you. Please reach out to me if there are any topics that you would like to hear again, or you would like me to drill into. So here we go. Today's episode has been many months in the making, and it seems like everyone I've coached recently has been dealing with this on some level. And this is ongoing work I have to do myself with family members, friends. Today's episode is about us wanting other people to be different, wishing other people were something other than who they are. We sometimes do it in sneaky small ways, and then sometimes we do it in big, paralyzing ways that drain us of our patience and love. Most of us, if not all of us, at one time or another have spent a lot of brain energy wishing someone in their life was different. So just like right now, as I talked about in episode 55 of when life doesn't go as planned, we all have to learn to pivot and adjust when other people in our life are not who we planned they would be, because all of our resistance is a big wall between us and them, walls that we construct and walls that we can deconstruct. Now, do any of these thoughts sound familiar? I wish my husband was handier around the house and could do home improvement projects. Or I wish my husband did this or that. You fill in the blank. And you might tack on to the end, I wish he did this like so-and-so's husband. I wish he didn't play as many video games. I wish he did this or that with our children. I wish he wanted to spend more time with my family. Or how about these thoughts? I wish my mother called me more, called me less. Liked to go shopping, bought less. Kept a cleaner house, wasn't so OCD clean. Cooked more, cooked less. Made me learn how to play the piano, didn't focus on music, whatever it is. I wish my parents had paid for my college so I wouldn't have to be so much in debt. I heard that one this week. Now, wishing our parents were different is usually where we have to do the very hard work on all of these thoughts, accepting people exactly as they are. Write down all of your wishes of how you wish your mother was different, and then go through all the tools I'm going to give you later. How about these? Do any of these thoughts sound familiar? I wish my son was athletic and an introvert and had friends. I wish my daughter wasn't autistic, or I wish my son enjoyed rock climbing like I do. I wish my daughter kept a cleaner room. I wish my son wasn't struggling with a drug addiction. I wish my sister was nicer to me and called me more often and didn't talk behind my back. I wish my brother-in-law managed his finances better and didn't always ask us for money. I've heard most of these. A few myself, I've even thought, and I'm guessing you have had very, very similar thoughts as well. I hear them in coaching every day. So if you have a big list, guess what? You're normal. Here is the truth, you guys. All of these thoughts build walls between us and that other person that we want to be different. And these are thick, cloudy, rough, and critical, judgment-filled walls that block us from really experiencing other people exactly as they are. These walls block us from seeing the good and even seeing and accepting the less than good in these people. These walls block us from seeing clearly how this person, being who they are, is really a benefit to us, to the world, and I don't need to fix them. These walls also block us from learning to understand, empathize with, and love everyone in our lives. And guess who feels better when we knock down the walls? It isn't these people, although chances are that they are going to think different thoughts and feel different because we start acting different. The truth is we feel better because we learn to stop wishing that other people were different. Here's what's beneath all of those thoughts that I listed earlier. These beliefs are what hold up those walls between us and others. This is what we're really believing. We really think there's something wrong with this person, that they're lacking in areas. We are really thinking, I would love them more if they were more like this imaginary ideal person or image that I have in my head, because that's what I believe a good version of this person is like. We are really blaming this person's actions or inactions for our emotions. We want them to change so we can feel something different. And because I've taught you and the coaching model that helps us examine our human experience, our emotions are created by our thoughts. Other people cannot create our emotions. And sometimes the deepest thought behind all of these wishing someone is different is I need this person to act a certain way so I can continually know my worth and value and feel secure. So we don't say those thoughts or beliefs, but they are the glue or the nails or the cement holding up all of that I wish you were different beliefs. Now, we want a shortcut to feeling different, and we want the circumstances, which other people, every single person in our life is just a circumstance. We want them to change so we feel different. So we feel loved, proud, accepted, successful, content, secure, confident, valued. We want others to change, when in fact, we only need to change what we think to feel those things. Other people do not need to do anything for us to feel a certain way. This is such an empowering and life-changing understanding. And notice I said for all of us to feel a certain way. We're not always going to feel good or positive. Life is always going to be a mix of 50-50, some positive and some negative. That is what our real life experience is going to be. So guess what? We might feel disappointed that someone is a certain way, but we create the disappointment. Our teenagers with messy rooms are not disappointing us. We are thinking, I'm disappointed or frustrated that they are not neater or cleaner. We want our child to study and get good grades and go to college so we can feel proud and like a successful parent. We want our spouse to fold the laundry without being asked so we can feel appreciated and loved. We want our siblings to call us so we can feel connected. Do you see that? When I learned that, my mind was blown in such an amazing way. I do want certain things for my family or my life, for my children, for my family, because I do want to feel a certain way. Now, is it bad to want those things? Of course not. I want those things, and I like all those emotions. We just need to know the difference between wanting those results for others around us and then not wanting to control or manipulate other people, thinking that that is what's going to create that feeling inside us. And please know, when we accept and really see and experience other people in our lives, it might be that mix of emotions, and allowing these feelings is the first step in appreciating and enjoying them and seeing how they add to our lives. We might feel vulnerable. We might feel disappointed, since the real person in our life isn't the fairy tale picture that kind of doesn't exist. We might be sad. We might even feel scared. But here's the cool thing. When you say to yourself, I'm feeling disappointed that my son was smoking pot last night, you already have subconsciously told your brain that you're in charge of your emotions, not your son. You're not in self-pity or in blame. So when you're ready to examine the situation, create consequences, have a conversation, it's from a place of reality and being in control of your emotions. Now, I want to give you several tools to clarify the lenses through which you see people. Tools to dismantle the walls we create between us and the real people in our lives. As I go through these, think of someone who you really wish was different. Okay, first, ask yourself, what am I not seeing about this person? Remember, we find what we're looking for. So every time we say to ourselves, for example, I wish my husband did more housework or chores, we tell our brain to find more evidence of how they don't help out. We put on blinders to any work or contribution they are doing. So what are you not seeing? In that scenario, are you not seeing how much contribution your spouse makes in the yard, in their professional life for your home? Are you discounting many things they do actually do around the house? But since it isn't what you have listed in your mind, it doesn't count. Are you not seeing other qualities about them that make your life, your family, run so much smoother? Are you not seeing how willing they are to go on campouts, take your daughters shopping, go on any trip that you plan? I like to ask myself, how is it benefiting me and this person that they are this way? For example, I spent many years wishing my mother had taught me to cook and more about nutrition in my earlier years. How has it benefited me that she didn't? It was fairly easy to learn as an adult, and I bonded with close friends who eagerly taught me a lot. Then, very importantly, I asked myself, what did my mother teach me instead of that? Well, I was taught to play the piano. I was tutored in any subject I needed tutoring in. I was shuttled from sports and music and art programs and involved in every church activity. If I focus on the way I wish someone was different, I block out the awareness and appreciation for how much this person, being exactly as they are, is what I needed or still today need in my life. My family grew up doing a lot of camping, hiking, outdoor activities. For years, I wished my husband planned and wanted us to do those things. He happily participated if someone else planned it, or kind of half-heartedly. But I spent energy at times wishing he was like my dad. But all of that blocked me from appreciating incredibly wonderful ways in which it's amazing that he isn't like that. Instead of every vacation being a camping and backpacking trip like I had to go on growing up, it's so wonderful my husband encourages us to relax. He likes nice hotels. Isn't that amazing? It's so different than carrying a tent that I then had to put up in the dark. My husband is all on board to go on trips in different countries. We walk and explore there. Then we eat nice meals and we sleep comfortably. If I focused on the ways he isn't like other people, I miss out appreciating him being him, which I love. Okay, the second tool to take off the blinders and crush those walls between us and others. Ask yourself, why do I think being different is better? And really answer this. Why do I think hiking and camping were better? When I really asked myself that, I could admit, well, I think planning camping and hiking taught me many amazing skills. We had such great memories as a family. I really learned to rough it. But is that better than being someone who doesn't prefer camping and hiking? My answer and your answer might be different, but my answer was no, neither is better. That wall or false belief quickly crumbled when I realized I don't want to judge my husband thinking he's less hardworking, which isn't true, than being like my dad or brothers who camp and hike in their spare time. I noticed how that judgment really separated us, and it was judgment I created. So me allowing him to be him actually brought out parts of me that I even liked more. Funny how that is. Now, this week a client told me she wished her daughter had more friends and she wasn't socially awkward. I helped her dig into her brain to see her beliefs that she thought being social and popular was better than having one or two friends and usually sitting on the social sidelines. Funny, these beliefs we have. What if both are good? As she pivoted her brain, she saw ways in which her daughter having just a few friends and being home most of the time could be good for her because she had less peer pressure, she had more time with her parents, the mom always knew where her daughter was, and so on. Our society puts value on certain personal characteristics. We're led to believe that being a vocal leader, being punctual, being assertive, being organized are all better qualities than being a follower, being 10 minutes late, being submissive, being just a tad scattered. What if we're all wrong? Who knows? I don't have the answer to that, but notice how different cultures around the world reward and perpetuate different characteristics. Eastern European culture is always on time. Many Latin cultures start events hours after the stated start time passes. Now, which is right or wrong? What if they're both right? Now, one clue for when we have hidden belief to examine is when we use the word should a lot. Why should everyone go to college? Aren't there lots of professions and incredibly valuable skills to be learned in other ways? Why should a child learn a musical instrument? And so on. Find all those shoulds in your head and put them under a magnifying glass. Now, the third tool, we wish people would be a certain way, remember, so we can feel a certain way. But by accepting and even possibly loving someone more, just as they are, we are the ones who have to do the hard and maybe even uncomfortable work. That's mental work. So what uncomfortable emotions and new thoughts are we avoiding? What internal change are we resisting, thinking that the other person is the one that needs to change? For a long time, I wished my husband managed our finances and took the lead in paying bills and financial planning, but he wanted me to do it. He had very good reasons, which he told me from early in our marriage, but still there were times I wished he would be the leader and the manager. And you know why? I wanted to avoid the responsibility and sometimes discomfort as I balanced accounts, the discomfort of saying no to a lot. I wanted him to take on that responsibility and emotions. Interesting, huh? Also, as I spent time wishing he did that, I didn't see how incredibly lucky I am to be married to someone who really doesn't care at all what I spend money on, never questions if we needed another basket or another throw blanket or the cutest window boxes on the front of my house. So yes, I can feel some responsibility and commitment, and I can love how amazingly trustful my husband is. Why do many of us wish our children diligently did their schoolwork or chores or woke themselves up to get whatever they needed to go on time? We wish those things so we could avoid supporting them, the hard work of loving and granting them grace for all of their strengths and weaknesses. It's easy to love our kids when they wake up early and do everything we want them to do. It takes work on our part to share the responsibility and determination and commitment when they need to borrow some of ours. It takes work to be patient and loving, even when our children aren't doing what we ask them to do that day. I can tell you I want to avoid the discomfort of following through on consequences. That's one reason I want them to do our household chores. I want to avoid managing my emotions while they get angry and mad. Do you wish your parents gave you money for a down payment on a home? Is that so you could avoid the perseverance and commitment to make the money on your own? Do you wish your sister wasn't an alcoholic? Is that to avoid feeling embarrassed and disappointed? And maybe to avoid doing the work of really understanding that your sister has some great qualities and she has some things that she's really, really working on. just like you, just like me. Okay, the last tool I have for you to stop wishing people were different is to remind yourself both you and everyone else have lots of strengths, some weaker areas, to remember we are all here to grow and that all of it is okay. As we accept people as doing their very best, we have much more capacity to accept that we are doing our best. We stop judging our weaknesses and mistakes when we start allowing everyone else to be perfectly imperfect. One client was wishing her child didn't have so many learning disabilities. She got to a place of accepting, yes, my daughter struggles in these areas. It's okay. I struggle also, and I'm actually the best person to help her with these struggles. One client has spent much of her life wishing her parents spent as much time with her as they do with her brother and his family. She now sees that she's much more independent than her brother, and she's taken responsibility to ask them to visit her when she wants to see them. No more blaming. This year, I'm helping our oldest apply for colleges. He needs my help more than probably my other children will need it. I could wish that he was more organized, or I can see how amazing he is in so many other areas of his life. I can notice how I want to avoid the organization or the research that I'll have to do. And I can remind myself that he and I make a great team, and it's all okay. Now, in closing, I have to share something funny I stumbled upon this week as I'm trying to organize closets and drawers in my house. In my closet, I found a letter I wrote when I was like 17 or 18 years old. I wrote out a list of who I wanted my husband to be. It included not only tall and funny, which my husband is both of, it included other specifics of personal qualities, an honorable priesthood holder in our church, other things I wanted my husband to have accomplished before we got married. I look at that list and I just give a huge hug to my innocent and naive younger self. I also see how focused I was on who he would be. Interesting that I don't have a letter about everything I would be, everything I would do, who I wanted to be by the time I got married. Now, I love that I had high standards and ideals for who I would marry, but I now am much more focused on me being the best version of me. I have expectations for me, and I just want to love who my spouse is. I'm using my energy to love and improve on myself, and then wholeheartedly loving and enjoying and accepting my husband exactly 100% who he is, who he will become. And I promise you that the same acceptance, love, and grace are available to us in every single relationship we struggle with, be it at home, work, or even social. Okay, that's it for today. Nobody in your life needs to change so you can feel different. Have you been listening and you know these tools can help you? Sign up for a free consult call on HeidiBenjaminson.com. I only have a few open each week. Do it now and model this for your family. Learn to manage your emotions now. Let them see you learning and growing just as they are. You've always hired coaches for them. Now it's time for you to have a coach. I'd be honored to be yours. Have a great week.